Hey guys, Igor here, and in today's video we are going to model this nice looking lamp. Very cool design, I really like it. Some parts is gonna be a bit more tricky than others, but all in all, few new tricks to show, so let's begin. I'll put my concept aside as usual, and I'll start with a circle and then dive in and make sure that this circle is set as a polygon type and then set it to the X plane. And I will also add a few more divisions here. See how it looks. Enable the points. And I believe this will be okay. Now, when we are adding points, sometimes if you look at the center of Z direction and then in the negative X direction, we can see that here in negative X we have point directly in the center, and then here we have a face directly in the center. Sometimes you can benefit from this kind of situation, and sometimes you can benefit from this kind of situation. So this is something that can help you in building your models, and also sometimes it could be a problem. But I'm not gonna spend too much time explaining why, so let's just dive in and leave this as it is. If we get to this situation, which I believe we will, I will then try to explain what's the difference between having a face or point directly in the center. So I think, let's see, 50 divisions will be just fine. Let's start then in polygon mode. Let's move point display here, and I'll reverse normals and I will poly extrude this primitive or polygon and then just start. This first part is pretty quick and easy. You don't have to be really precise, we can always go back with the extrude. So don't worry too much. Let's see, side a bit and inside, then make another extrude and then output side disable. Now we have a different object from these two, which is exactly what we need for this part. Okay, now let's extrude this primitive, and I believe this primitive should be here, so I can use points, snap it, exactly correct position, and then extrude once more with Q. So what I'm doing, I'm just pressing Q and extruding everything to repeat. Let's see. Okay, let's go down. Let's extrude, output side disable, and extrude here. And once more, and this part we will bevel. Add few divisions. And let's see, now we go back, we can play with the values here. Go back to poly bevel and then just bevel everything, as we see on the concept art. Now this part can be a bit tricky to bevel, so let's bring this outside, and then let's select these two edge loops, bevel it just slightly, and then just delete this edit, and this will be back in its place. This is another thing I really like in Houdini, that we can use these nodes like this. Again, delete the previous edit, and then we have things back into the position. Let's see, I'll make a poly bevel here, just slightly, nothing special. And from here, I'll just cusp to make this, oops, I just changed my network view, sorry. So let's see, okay, now this is the separate part. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate parts. Let me just finish this part here. Let's make sure it's directly in the middle. Let's bevel. Let's extrude. Come on. Bevel. And extrude. Then once more. Bevel. Ignore the edges we don't need. Add a few divisions here, and that's it. Now if you want to change the thickness of this bevel, you can, and then the bevel at the end will not be changed. As you can see, things stays pretty much as you would expect, which is what I really like. You can also change extrude, and bevel will stay. You can even go inside. And here we go. Let's save. And I believe this looks good. Now here I can notice that there is some kind of curvature. So to mimic that, let me just add a loop here. And I'll make sure that I have at least 3 loops, edge loops, and then I'll just manually move them inside to get that small curvature. I can just looking here and making sure that things are, they are. Now if we for some reason think this is like this size here, it's too big, we can go to our list and let's see which extrude we use here. Activate extrude. Okay, this one, this is fine. What about this one? Nope. Number 4, yeah. You see that things are still staying as you would expect, at least with Houdini. Well, of course not, this will not work in every case, but yeah, for adjusting extrusion and bevels, this usually works just fine. So let's go back to our last node, and this is what we have. Nice. So let's remove this part. Again, I can use edit to remove, and then I'll just quickly fix and close these holes and make them, sorry, triangulated fan, the form patch disabled. And then in selection mode, in polygon mode, with laser selection, I will select these polygons. And then extrude inner, and I'll prepare the terrain for the bulb. So extrude inner, and that's pretty much it. But maybe we can even create a bulb right now. Of course, let's make sure. I want to hide this and also hide this. And make sure that my tool option is set to create in context. And now when I create a sphere, my sphere is here. Let's make this sphere as a polygon mesh. Let's make it smaller. Press H to move candle from our viewport, just temporarily. H to bring it back. Now let's make this to look like a bulb. And let's select this part, and let's extrude. With transform extruded front, so right mouse click to get the menu. Extrude this part. Let's disable output front because we don't need it. Now we need to make sure that this is a bit smaller, so I can go back to my sphere and just make everything smaller. And bring it up. Like this, and go back to extrude and then make this extrusion smaller. Oh man, this is so satisfying. And I believe this is fine. And let's see, I think this edit was to move this part, so I can delete it and then bring this part back. And now I can select everything with N in the viewport and press T to merge. And here I will add a loop. One loop in the middle, and then I will bevel it. And I'll use edit node to make this just a bit curved here. And then I'll use bevel to add curvature for the glass. Something like this. And save. And now I believe we have a nice basic shape in place. Also, I can close this hole here. I don't have to select the whole edge. I can just select one. And Houdini will know what to do. All bevel. That's it. Because I'm closing this hole here and making a bevel. Because this lamp will actually not be on top of anything, but actually it will hang from the ceiling. So we obviously need this part to be closed and also beveled a bit. Now, actually here I want to add a bit of thickness because this is a glass. So let's extrude this. And if I extrude this like a bit regular rules, we can see that this will not be really as what we want. So these normal directions pushing the extrusion upwards and here downwards, and that will not work. At least it can work, but it will not be that precise. So what I can do, undo and use again front transform with the global settings, and then just scale it like this inside. Now everything stays, see, we are extruding exactly where we need it. And in this case, I can output back and just select everything and reverse the normals. And actually this extrude could be control glass, its thickness. So because maybe this will be too thick for a glass, so maybe we need to come back at some point and make it thicker for rendering. Okay guys, so let's continue. Also I will just make this different color, but again from my list, I can always say control, and we will have this ready to go whenever we activate it. Nice. I believe that this first part is done. It looks nice to me. We can still go back and make some changes without messing anything, because extrusions and bevels are easy to change on the go. So feel free to do that. But now the a bit more trickier part, but then also a fun part. And it's this one. So obviously this part here is not that hard, but how are we gonna handle this part? This part, a different story. So let's begin. Okay. So I will use the curve tool for this, and I will go just space H in all these views to center my object, and I just noticed I lost the curvature here. So, but it's okay. Doesn't really matter. So I will then start here. Now, if I don't have the grid in a perfect position to actually use it with snapping, then what I can do, I can use shift to constrain my movement. In this case, it's 45 degrees. And I think this will work for our object. So what we can do is use shift and apply, and also, sorry, what I will do, I will make sure that this primitive type is set to polygon. Make sure that you always set your primitive type before you start using the curve tool, because if you, for example, use Bezier NURB and bring it back to polygon, some tools might not work later, like beveling the points. So have that in mind. Okay, let's start. I'll just make, I'm also using shift for this straight line. And let's bring it somewhere here, then somewhere here. Okay, I believe that will do. And now we just need to escape our curvature or curve tool, and then build a sweep on this edge. Just double the enter, and then make sure that your surface shape is set to round. And then we can change the radius and add a few more columns. Like I believe 12 will be fine. Now this is also where we could benefit if we have these edges exactly where they are, like so these two edges, this one, like they're in the center, so I can use these three to actually create this part, this small part here. So then let's use how many? 12 columns for this. If I say 13, you can see that this line or edge is not anymore in center, and we could have some issues. So that's really important to pay attention to these little things, because it can break your modeling or it can save you a lot of time. So just have that in mind. Okay, now here we can see that this edge, these edges, this end of this object doesn't really align with these faces. And that's a bit of a problem if we really want to be precise. So what I can do here is next. So let me select these ends and just fill them with single polygon. And then make sure that those are selected. And then just use peak and push this inwards. So let's push this inside for now. And also let's go back to my curve tool and let's select these points actually. So it's box selection, make sure that you're in point mode. So don't make sure that you're not activating your curve. Right now I just want to work on these 2 points and use poly bevel. Okay. And now I need to see why this is not working. It works, but yeah, for a minute or second things were not looking fine. But as we can see, all is good. So right now I'm using bevel on the point and making the adjustment to the curvature. And I can always go back, so later, right? So not big a deal if we make some kind of mistake. Now obviously we need to just regroup this selection here, and also we need to, let me just repeat all of this. So okay, we had a crash, so now we are back as usual, and I just want to close these holes as before, like this, and then use peak to push these primitives inside of the lamp. Good. And now what I want to do is the next thing. Let's select this part and let's use knife. And also let's use our construction plane. And let's position the construction plane here. Over here. What I can also do, let's not use knife right now, is I can actually, I will just make sure, let's see, to use, let's select these 2 points. And just bring them up a little bit so that it's actually aligned with these primitives. Once again, you can see that everything stays intact. So actually I will bring them even here like this, and I think I'll also gonna move these to here. I think it's more correct when I'm looking at the reference. So okay, now this looks exactly as I want it to look. And now I can use my knife, but first I will position my construction plane now onto this edge. So now you can see that this construction plane is here aligned, and you will now see why this is so cool. So now if I use knife and go in my side view, now unfortunately we cannot see our construction plane on the side because it's too thin for the viewport, but we can see obviously that here it's enabled, right? And from here too. And what's really cool is that now we can make a cut based on this construction plane. And if you notice here, this little red dot, I don't know if you can see it, hopefully you can. This is basically our construction plane constraint. So right now my knife is operating on a construction plane based on a construction plane. So if I make a cut, we can see that even though my mouse is all over the place, my pointer, we can see that this red line is actually following construction plane, which means that I can now cut precisely where I need it and then use my primitive above plane option and cut whatever is inside. But I need to make sure that I'm operating here. Yeah. Change the settings to primitive below the plane. This sometimes can be confusing, but just test both. And now this knife tool is behaving as your clip tool. But clip tool doesn't have like this interactivity in the viewport. So once you invoke your clip, it always spawns in the viewport. You cannot actually make a cut like you can make with the knife. That's the difference. So now I can do the same thing here. So just let's activate our positioning of the construction plane, place it here, accept it, press Q to repeat your knife, come to the bottom. Again, you can see my red dot here. Make a cut like this. Let's see, let's cut below the primitive. And if you really want to go a bit more inside, you can always use this distance and push this inside a bit. Which, in my opinion, this is really, really cool. And we can also go back to this knife and see, we can slice, we can cut or clip as much as we want. That's so cool. That was really, really great discovery that I had. It's really awesome. So okay, let's go back to the bottom, to our last node. And now let's make an edge loop, because now we need to sort this part out. And this will be easy. So let me see where my construction plane is at the bottom, so I'll deal with this one first. So I'll just make a cut here. Or actually I can reuse, okay, for this I will just reuse this one. Activate edit node, and then with my slide on surface, I'll make sure that I'm matching the profile here. So now we can see that we are actually trying to match this neighbor here, but I want to match opposite one. So here, this one here. And then I will select these polygons, invoke extrude. And now I have another problem. I cannot do this extrusion. So what I will do, I will use my front transform and make sure that my align handle is actually on the C plane. And now if I extrude, we can notice that our handle is aligned based on the construction plane, and we are basically sliding this extrusion on our construction plane. Yet another marvelous thing in Houdini. This construction planes really becomes pivotal for our modeling. And let's make this look something like this. And that would be it for the bottom part. Let's go to the top part. Here I will use edge loop. And again, I need to somehow to match this edge loop to a right neighbor, which I can then try to use these two. And of course I need my edge percentage here, and I think this looks fine. So depending on these settings, you will match your neighbor on the left or the right. So to match the neighbor on the right, in my case, I need to enable match profile and then switch profile. then use edge percentage to move this where I want it to be. But now I need my construction plane so I can make an extrusion. So let's again activate this construction plane, bring it here, go to selection mode. Let's select these polygons, make extrusion, toggle front transform. I believe this is set to C plane, yeah. And now I can just move this, make this straight, and try to match. Let me see if I can, where would be this extrusion exactly? Was it on Z? It doesn't matter. I'll just eyeball it. I'm not gonna waste time on this. And as a last step, you can make a small bevel here. Let's see how this will work. Let's just save. Bevel is a bit unstable. But actually before that, let me see. Let me hide everything. Okay, let's first select everything and then bind them, merge them, and now show only selected would work. And because we don't need these, I can just delete them like that. Nice. So let's now try to bevel. So let's see. Yeah, the small bevel will be just fine like this. Yeah. More than fine, I believe. So let's repeat this here. And that's it. Let's make visible everything else, and voila, that's it, guys. Now I will also make a screw here, but I will not use, or I can use this part. Actually no, I'll just use my construction plane to be here in this center, and save and make let's see, let's make a circle. Yeah, I'll make a circle as a polygon, and then uniform scale it. Of course I need this because I had a crash. So let's just repeat uniform scale that. Let's remove our construction plane and let's now extrude this bevel. And if you want to make this as a bit more detailed thing, then let's close this. And let's see. So this will not work. Maybe if I polyfill this. Not work either. So I'll just leave it here, reverse the normals, and you guys mess with the screwdrivers. And now again, I have this bug where this head-up display will not go away and my zooming will be screwed, and this is because of, again, poly bevel. So guys, give me a second to reboot Houdini. See you in a second. Okay guys, we are back, so let's continue. I need this tiny bolt to be also here, so I can just duplicate it And I will just use a line component, use this polygon to put it here. And for some reason this mess up with your scale, so make sure to change this to reset the scale and transform, and then just set this up a bit manually. And I think this will do. Save, and now let's use another duplicate. Actually, no, what I will do, I will first duplicate this and I will tell you why. So let's reset these two and let's use our 360 divided by copy parameter from total number, paste relative reference, apply, then this number of 9, maybe 8 will do. And now, because I want to use the output group prefix of duplicate on the bolts, I will just repeat the duplication, and I will use the same. Here, let's see if I can use the previous one. Nope. So 360 divided by total number, copy parameter, paste as a relative reference, apply. Let's use 8 of these, and let's output group prefix and say bolts. And now if I want to make these bolts a different color, I can, which can be very convenient. Okay, nice. I think these two, like this main part is done, and now we are just left with, actually, sorry, we need to do one more thing. So let's create these quickly. So what I can do, I can select these and just use my last edge group to curve and merge these from the viewport. Then select this node and just invoke sweep, enter, enter, round like this, and then let's bring a radius here, add a few more columns, 12 I think will be fine, and then save, go to edge group to curve. Now I need to select this curve somehow. Let's see if I can use transform. So yeah, like these, then press enter, and now I can make this curve bigger and place it here. Now I can use Boolean to merge these, but I'm not gonna do this for this tutorial. It will take me a bit more time. So I believe this will be just good enough. Maybe actually bring this more a bit down. So now we're here. And that's it. Okay, so let's continue. Now let me just quickly create this part and this part, and then I can move to a bit more complicated one. Now let's see, will I try to do it from here? Let me add an edge loop in the middle. And I believe, yeah, I'll think I'll use these two. Now, if you remember what I was talking about at the beginning, where it's sometimes good to have a point in the center or a face. So in this case, here is a difference. If I want to make this part here now from one of these primitives, you know, if I want to make them connected to this part, then I need to make a choice now. Do I extrude that part here from one primitive or two? And for me, it seems that two primitives will work better. So I will use X position or X direction to make this, because I believe the one primitive would not do. And if I want to make sure that everything is in center, then I need to pay attention to these things. So I'll extrude this one with my front transform set to transform space to global. Bring this up, make this straight or flat. And if I don't like this thickness, let's go to bevel and just make this adjustment. And then let's go back, save. And here we can make a poly bevel. And I believe this will be okay. Not going to be perfect, but I believe it will do. So now what I need to do, I need to make a hole here. So I will use poly extrude so that I don't have to manually connect these, because I can also use boolean. But for this exercise, I'm gonna use poly extrude, and then with edit, Shift C, and make a perfect circle. Now we can see that things are not perfect, so we need to make sure these are far more smaller. Maybe bring them up a little bit so that we don't have too much stretching. And now if I look here from the side, let's see, Shift F, Shift F. I obviously need to make sure that these two are the same, or at least make them appear as the same. Now delete, or what I can also do with the bridge is select one part, poly bridge, and then just bridge it like this. Select these edges, poly bevel just a bit. If this doesn't look good, try different methods. This one looks the best. Yeah, even though this is really not needed at all, but hey, why not do it if we can? Maybe just make a small adjustment here so it looks a bit more natural or curvy. And I'll also make bevels here to actually make it look like they are connected. It's not gonna be perfect, but hey, we can at least try. And if you ask me, this works okay. So even though it's a bit trickier part, I believe this works just fine. So nice. Let's just let's see. Of course, I need this on the other side. So actually, before I do this bevel, what I will do, just delete. What I will actually do here is deselect all of these and select this part, and now I'm just going to mirror this part. Make sure that I delete the part below this and select all of these and just convert to points and then fuse. Now if I double click on this part, I can see that things are as we want them to be fused and ready to be beveled. So let's bevel something like this, and then use normal. And if you now check this out, I think that looks really good, even from the close view. But all in all, from the distance, this really looks good. And this object will be seen from the distance, so yeah. Okay. Now the last part and the most trickier part is obviously this one. Not as much as this one. I mean, this part here alone is not tricky, but connecting these two will be a bit tricky. So let's start. Let's save, and let's space H, and then let's go into this view with spacebar P. And of course we are going to use our curve with Shift as a constraint. Over here, let's bring it here. And then I believe I will use the mirror for this, so it really doesn't matter. And this time I will use primitive type as Bezier, even though, you know what, I'm not gonna risk. So I'll make sure to use polygon. And actually I'll use grid just to make my life easier, because right now I don't want to make mistakes. Now the difference between primitive types, NURBS, polygon, Bezier is that on polygon you can't really make round points for some reason, so we need to use bevel. So let's go out, point mode, selection mode, point mode, box selection with F2. Let's select these points and let's execute bevel. Make sure that grid is not enabled, and let's just put few divisions on the bevel to make it more smoother. And of course, so first let's not select anything. Let's execute sweep, select the edge on which we want to invoke sweep, press enter once, and okay, so things were okay. Just make sure that surface shape is set to round tube. Bring this down, add I believe 12 columns will be just fine. Again, it's important that we have this edge loop and this edge loop directly in the middle. So I might add 2 more, 16. No, I'll just stick with 12. I want to make my life easier and quicker for this tutorial. Now this might not work, so let's go back to bevel and add a few more divisions. And also we can change the distance here. I believe this is fine. And I believe the radius could be a bit smaller. Something like this. Looks okay. Let's save. And now let's see what we can do. So what I will do is, first I will activate my construction plane and bring it to be exactly here, at least the center, and then make a small rotation and bring it up, because this center is important because I want to spawn a circle exactly here. So Let's do that. Or I can use, let's see, tube. And I can, because of the crash. We need to set this up correctly. And let's add a tube. And let's bring it to be like this. And then make sure that it has enough resolution so that it doesn't look blocky. So I see, maybe 24. And again, I need to make sure that I have two edges directly in the middle here. Okay, so, and I also want to match this thickness perfectly. So what I can do, I can go into the sweep and take my radius. Let's see, copy parameter, bring it in here. And let's see if this will work. Best relative reference. And I believe I need to say, yeah, this will be fine. So if I now, so I need to multiply by 2 this value, this radius here. So now if I'm changing the radius of the sweep, my tube radius or height is also changing, which is kind of neat. That's Houdini stuff. Pure Houdini stuff. Okay, now the fun part. So I'll try to make this without any mistakes, but yeah, forgive me if I do a few, because this needs really a good concentration, and I'm trying to explain things, so hopefully you forgive me for mistakes if I do some. So let's begin. Again, let's use extrude and bring this extrude to here. And then let's extrude again, but to outside like this, because I need this curvature here, right? So I would believe this will be okay. But I will also need, I will need few loops here. 3 will be enough, so I can connect. Just follow what I'm doing and trust me on this. Okay, I will also need, let me just select everything and merge so I can work interruptedly without interruptions. So let me make cut here, use bevel to bring it here like this. Let's match this as best as we can, because I don't want to connect these manually, but actually with the fuse. So this looks fine. And I believe I will need one more. So let's... Okay guys, sorry, we had yet another crash with this bevel. It really makes our life harder. And I really hope that side effects will do something about it, because now this is becoming a really serious issue. And only bevel pretty much is crashing and producing these issues. But okay, it is what it is. It's really not my fault. So, okay, let's continue. I also want to have yet another bevel in the middle here. And now what I will do, I will use the edit node with mirroring. And let's change the handle. And let's move these all the way down. These. And then... Oh man. See what happens, guys, when I get interrupted. So let's push this here and bring this down. I just want to match these manually so I can work. So I'll add one more here loop and here. Then I'll just bring everything up and select it like this, but yeah, this will not work now. And so let me just delete. Let's try with bevel. Of course, it's not going to work as I want it, but this actually might work. And it will, I believe. So let's just eyeball this. And again with edit, select these two, activate mirror, bring this down to match these as much as possible. And now what I will do, select this edge, and bevel, but with always enabled, and I'll bring few divisions, and I believe this will be just fine. Now let's delete these polygons here and these. Just delete. Now I need extra edges here, so I'll just select this part, save, use knife to cut only on selected areas on this side. Let's use snapping, and I believe, yeah, I'm gonna need this. I'll just Q, Control, cut, and that's pretty much it. And now we can actually use mirroring like that. Delete, select everything here, and before we do mirror, let's just try and use and see what will work. Now we are connecting these parts. You double click, we can see that everything is connected, and then we can just mirror this, and that's it. Nice. Now I'm gonna work just on this side, so I will mirror the other. So let me see, I believe I will just fill this with a single polygon and use poly split and just connect these. Right now I'm not concerned about triangles, to be really honest. So to me it seems that even those are extra, I don't need those. And let's make this cut so I can actually delete one part. Okay, that seems decent. So right now I will select and delete this part. And also I will make sure to delete this part here, but make sure that with Control I deselect all of these so I don't delete wrong things. I could also have hide this, but this will do because right now I'm in a rush because I don't want this tutorial to be 1.5 hours, but I believe we are close to that. So once again, guys, sorry, but it is what it is. So now what I want to do, I believe I'll take these and I will poly extrude, use T, Shift C to make this as a whole. And I believe this is just fine. Maybe a bit smaller. Yeah, so let's mirror. And then let's use these and reach them here. And that's it. Let's bevel. Good. And let's see if we can bevel this part too. To some extent, use laser. And let's bevel. Yeah, I can bevel this a bit more, but it's not gonna work, so I'll just leave it as it is, and then select this edge, bring it down, and this edge, and this one, now to align. And I believe that's it, except this part here. So once again, just quickly how we can do this. Bring this up. Let's make poly extrude. I believe this is good enough for this part. Only thing that's left now, we need to bring this a bit closer, like this. And yet again, make a mirror. And that's pretty much it. Of course, get a normal. And this could be a bit bigger. So let's see. Or let's not do this. I don't know why is this now. Double mesh. But let's use duplicate here. And let's align component. to this point, reverse. And let's just leave it there. Mirror. That's it. Now for the end, I want to use less match size mode, and this time I will make sure that my justify Y is set to max. And now when we go outside, and we can see where our lamp is. I'll just rename it. Make it black. I can use start orient picking, and I'll position it here. Let's try again. Without rotating. Obviously it's too big, but I can make it smaller. Maybe rotate, move, and I believe, guys, that's it. It's been 1 hour and 10 minutes. We managed to finish this. At the end it was a bit dirty. I had few crashes, unfortunately, with bevel, but all in all, guys, if we consider that this is pretty much all quads, I think this is a really great, and yeah, I think it's a decent looking lamp. We can go back to some parts and change them, and again, if we go to our lobs, fire up karma, wait a bit, we can see that our lamp is there. And yeah, I believe that's it for this tutorial, guys. Hopefully you learned something, and make sure to stay safe, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.